Welcome to Investors Guide. We have a good show lined up for you today in spite of the fact that this week has been full of holidays. We've been working, we've been answering your questions, planning out your portfolios and trying to fit in as much investment advice as we can into the next half hour. Remember, email ID is flashing at the bottom of your screens. You can write to us if you have any problems about your money, investing, saving or spending. Let's get straight to it. This is what we're doing over the next half hour. Find out which is the best child plan in the market for you to use. We'll also review the DSP BlackRock Tiger Fund. We'll find out if you should be investing in it now. And if you're a retired person and you prefer using fixed deposits, we'll find out also if there are debt instruments that can offer you the same security with higher returns. All of that coming up later on the show, but first let me introduce our guest, Dhirendra Kumar, the CEO of Value Research and our in-house mutual fund expert who answers our questions every week. It's time now to move to our portfolio versus portfolio segment. Well, Nitesh has written in. He's 30 years old and he's expecting a baby soon. Congratulations, Nitesh. He tells us he has an income of 90,000 rupees a month, out of which he saves about 20,000 rupees every month. Now, he's invested 3 lakh rupees in fixed deposits and 60,000 rupees in a ULIP. He also has 2,000 rupees going into a recurring deposit. I'm not sure why he has to have both the fixed and the recurring deposit. 10,000 rupees invested in stocks, a life cover of 50 lakhs and a health cover of 5 lakh rupees. Now, he invests 1,000 rupees every month through an SIP into these funds today, which means a total investment of 4,000 rupees a month, which might not be enough. HDFC Top 200, Reliance Equity Growth, Fidelity Tax Advantage, and SBI Magnum Tax Gain. He wants to buy a home in the next couple of years, and he wants to put together a down payment of 10 to 15 lakh rupees. He wants to know if his investments are good enough. First of all, he obviously needs to increase his contribution to his mutual fund.
No, I think, he needs to increase his investment in mutual funds. He has his RD going on, which is good enough if he thinks that, it is, but he already has the emergency fund. So I really wonder that why that fixed income component, because recurring deposit for a long time frame, it will not be very effective. So I would say that, and his fund selection, is reasonable but not good enough. He has 2 very disappointing funds. One is Reliance Equity and the other is, Magnum Tax Gain. So I would say increase your equity allocation, maybe move your money which is there in the ULIP to this. You are adequately covered on the, you have adequate term cover. So you don't need, insurance and investment combined in a ULIP. I think, in 3 to 4 years' time, one should have, the accumulation. It is very important to be investing through the bad times. So continue on this plan.
All right, his next question, should he now include a gold ETF in his portfolio? Do you think that makes sense to start investing in gold at this point?
No, Faye. I would say that, gold is highly, it has come to a point where it looks fairly scary. And if at all there should be a gold allocation, then I think, it should not be a long-term investment allocation. A lot of people are referring to gold as, it should be a defined component of the portfolio. I would say that, look at gold as a fairly opportunistic investment. Invest in that, keep an eye, and be ready to run away whenever you see signs of steep decline.
All right, and his last question is about child plans. He wants to know if there are any good child plans in the market to invest in. Now, if he has a strong mutual fund portfolio, is there any reason why he can't use the same portfolio to also save for his for the child that he's expecting soon? Does he need to buy a child plan with the name child in his plan?
The way to approach a child, investing for a child for his education or for wedding, and a child who is yet to be born. So I would say that you are investing for 15, 20 years. To begin with, all my investment should get into equity. As I get closer to, which is for next 10, 12 years. And the kind of money which will be needed and that time frame, if it comes into, next 3, 4 years, that small part of the money, the kid is likely to get into college in next 4 years. I think the first year college, cost component should be derived out of the portfolio and be moving into fixed income. That is the way I would approach it, and it can be easily achieved. And far better achieved when you do it yourself than any programmed child plan, because most child plans, they are not the same, they are not suited exactly in the same way for a 5-year-old child, for a yet-to-be-born child, and a 20-year-old child.
All right, Mr. Ish, that's the advice going out to you. Thanks for writing into Investors Guide. Remember, if you have more questions about your portfolio, you can write to us on the email ID at the bottom of your screen. Our next question comes in from Kishore, who's 32 years old. He's written in from Bangalore with a monthly income of 75,000 rupees. Now, he's been investing in mutual funds for the last 2 years. It has a long-term horizon with the aim of creating wealth. Now, he wants you to tell him if his investments are on track. His first fund on his list is the Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity. Continue investing in this one?
Yeah, an excellent fund. Should continue investing.
The UTI Dividend Yield is the next fund on his list. Will continue investing in this as well?
Yes, this is an outstanding fund. Should continue investing in this one as well.
HDFC Top 200. These are all funds that come up on this show as funds that you recommend. Would you recommend this one as well?
Yes, HDFC Top 200 is a good fund, and this is also worth holding and investing further.
Franklin India Prima Plus Ring, continue investing?
Yeah, another reasonably good fund, and all these funds so far are the kind which gets you reasonable diversification. Yes, should continue investing.
HDFC Prudence is the next on his list. It's a balanced fund. It's an aggressive balanced fund, but it's balanced nevertheless. So for a long-term horizon, would you recommend this fund?
I would say that, given that he has HDFC Top 200 and, the 3 other funds which you have listed, yes, it's a relatively more stable fund. But given the scale of money going into other funds, I don't think it's needed. He should be, looking at his fixed income allocation elsewhere. He should be looking at deriving stability in his portfolio on an overall basis.
ICICI Prudential Discovery is the next on his list. This is a strong fund with strong returns. Continue investing in this as well?
Yes, a strong fund with strong return, and and it becomes extremely disappointing in a declining phase of the market. So yes, given his time frame of many years, I think this should also be of a modest scale. And I'm hopeful that funds like these will actually give him are the ones where he's assuming risk in a methodical way, and he should be rewarded over a longer period of time. Which Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity or HDFC Top 200, which will not.
All right. So Kishore, the funds that we named at the beginning on the top of your list, these will give you steady returns. A fund like ICICI Prudential Discovery will take more risk, which means that it will fall more if the market is bad. But in the long term, it should be able to reward you and give you stronger returns. The IDFC Imperial Equity, we don't talk about this fund too often. It's a nimble fund, 29 stocks in this fund altogether. Average return, would you recommend you continue investing in it?
Average return, but it is an excellent large cap fund. And I would say that given all that he has, he can do without it.
Last two funds are sectoral funds from Reliance Banking, Retail, and Reliance Pharma. Would you recommend, especially if he has a long-term horizon, he's looking at 15, maybe 20 years, that he has sectoral funds in his portfolio, and these funds in particular?
No, I think, the role of a sector fund in a portfolio or the need to have it is only if you find that your overall portfolio is missing out on something or there is something not adequately present. If you look at your overall fund, it will be tilted to banking. And by having more of banking, adding another banking fund, you will just be getting more, tilting it more towards banking. At the same time, you will be getting upset when you see the volatility of the banking fund in isolation. You should look at, overall value of all your investment holding, which is, these 8 or 9 funds. And I don't think both are needed.
Sure. So you're left with 5 funds if you follow this advice, and that should be enough. You won't need any more funds. So remember, invest through SIPs, review your funds every year, and write back to us if you need anything else. I was looking at our Facebook page. Senthil Ram has written on our Facebook page. He has an interesting question. He said a few months ago, he opted for the Fidelity Tax Advantage Growth Fund, ELSS, by investing 2,000 rupees a month through SIPs. He wants to know now if he can either increase or decrease his SIP amount, even though he's signed all the papers and given that check. So this is an interesting question. Once you start an SIP, can you tweak the amount that's going into that fund?
Yes, absolutely. And there is a different form. He should just contact his advisor or call up the call center to affect the change.
So we get to a quick break. On the other side, the Ranger is going to review the DSP BlackRock Tiger Fund. So going on.